Hey everyone, this is Fantasy and Frames Beat the Waiver Wire for Week 16 Playoff Edition. I'm your host, Zach. You can find me at FFShulpaBatman on Twitter. Hope everyone's doing well. If you are watching, I hope that means you're in the playoffs. Congratulations. Good luck. I'm here to get you ready for the second week of the playoffs already for Week 16. So if you have not tuned in for this series all season, you should have, but hey, at least you're here now. I'm going to talk to you about players that are rostered in less than 50% of ESPN leagues that you can pick up right now for free without having to worry about the waiver wires next week. And that way you can hopefully use them the rest of the way in the playoffs. So the focus of these players were mostly for looking at week 16, a little bit of week 17, but really to get you ready. So hopefully you already have a bye week because you did so well and you are just getting yourself set up for your first round of your playoffs, which is the second round of semis. Very important. We want to get you in that championship game. So with that, we are going to get started. There is not a lot left on the waiver wire for quarterbacks. As you all know, you're playing fantasy football. You get it. So Jared Goff is coming in at just under 48% rostered. So again, he might not be available in your league. I get it. But double check, see if he is, because he is worth the pickup. Really, it just comes down to his offensive weapons. It comes down to his matchups. So in week 16, he gets to go to Carolina to go against the Panthers, which I would say is an average matchup. I wouldn't say it's a bad matchup. I wouldn't say it's a great matchup. So we're not scared of it. And then in week 17, he gets to be at home, which is where he plays his best against Chicago Bears, which is a great matchup. So hopefully you don't need to rely on Jared Goff, but I understand injuries happen. Maybe you don't like the matchups for your quarterback. Go ahead, stash Goff. You probably can play him in week 16, but I really like his matchup for week 17. At running back, Alexander Madison. I have talked about him, it feels like, for a month now, and his rostership percentage keeps going down. We're now down to just under 22% rostered. This man is the best handcuff running back available on the waiver wire, and he should not be available. He should be closer to 75% rostered, if not more. Whether you have Dalvin Cook on your team or not, you need Madison at the end of your bench. I understand you can't really play him unless Dalvin Cook gets hurt, but just imagine, again, we don't wish for injury. Imagine if Dalvin Cook gets hurt this week. Everyone's going to spend every single last dollar they have of Fab on Madison. Just get him now for free. He would be considered a low-end running back 1, or at the very least a high-end running back 2 if Dalvin Cook is out for either week 16 or week 17. So just stash Madison in the bench. So there's got to be a guy on your bench that you would never trust to play in these last 2 weeks of the playoffs. Drop him, pick up Madison, put him on your bench. All right, speaking of injuries, at wide receiver, we have Mecole Hardman. Now, I don't love this pickup, but I'm just kind of looking for some potential upside that you might find. So he's designated to return from IR. The latest report we have on Friday is that he probably won't play in week 15, and that's okay because we're talking about week 16 here. So assuming he gets the all clear for week 16, we gave him an extra week to rest. That's a good sign. He's got a great matchup in week 16 versus Seattle. They're a terrible pass defense. And before his injury, if you can recall, he scored 5 touchdowns over 3 games before he was injured. So he's attached to a great quarterback, a great passing offense. Nobody on that team other than Kelsey has really stepped up in the receiving area to command a lot of targets. So I don't know if I would trust Mecole Hardman in week 16 coming off an injury, but he at least gives you some upside and at least gives you another option if you end up dealing with some injuries. At tight end, we have Taysom Hill at 43% rostered. Again, tight end, not pretty either. I get it. I picked Taysom Hill because he gives you the most upside, obvious upside for tight ends, just because he can do so much other than play tight end for that offense. He's extremely boom or bust. He could easily get you a couple points, but he can also go off for 2 or 3 touchdowns. So if you need that high upside on your roster because maybe you're going up against a juggernaut in your playoff matchup and there's just not a whole lot of tight ends that you like, go ahead, pick up Taysom Hill, run with that risk because you need the upside, so go for it. And our bonus player. Normally I talk about a actual player, but because we're in the playoffs now, I think it's important to talk about DSTs and looking ahead. If you are now playing for week 16, which this is what this show is all about, you need to go pick up the Tennessee Titans. They get the Houston Texans in week 16. and they are only 27.4% rostered. The Titans defense, I would say, is suspect. They're a great running defense, not a great passing defense. Well, guess what? The Texans are a terrible offense. They can't really do anything. So go ahead, pick up the Titans now, stash them for Week 16. And if you want to look ahead to Week 17, the Houston Texans are going to Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, Jacksonville Jaguars are not a great defense, but the Houston Texans are that bad of an offense, and the Jaguars are only rostered in 7.7% of leagues right now. So go ahead and pick them up too if you have the space. If you think you're making it to Week 17, which I hope you do think that, go ahead and pick them up now. Especially if you have a bye week right now, you can pick up both because no matter what happens to you in Week 16, you're still playing for third place in Week 17 at the very least. So get yourself ready to go. So I appreciate you all listening. This is Fantasy and Frames. Please check out our website at fantasyandframes.com. That's where all the rankings are, all the great articles from the team. And then make sure you go ahead and like this video. Great way to support us, as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel. The team puts out so much great content every week. We got you covered with Redraft, as I just talked about. We got you covered with Dynasty. We have you covered with IDP, which I know is getting popular and not a lot of people talk about it. And then DFS, which, hey, we're here to make you some money. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of this great content coming from this awesome team. So I appreciate you. Good luck this week. Please tune in again next week as we get ready to beat the waiver wire for your championship game. Good luck, everyone. Have a good one.